beautiful day out. Got 2 hours then to shift, and got some broken stuff to fix. We got this Bomag here. This is one of our packers, and it has one of the rods for the steering is super worn out. So gotta make it last here, and I'll give you a look. So we got this. You can see this has been welded once before by my cross shift because we're waiting on parts to replace the bearing pin and rod end, and it is not in yet. We got the rod and the pin, we don't have the bearing, so we can't go ahead changing that yet. And if you look under here, yeah, it's pretty thundered there. So what my cross shift ended, he ended up putting some collars on here and welding them on and welding the pins. And obviously it didn't hold and it ended up breaking. So what we got over here, this is the collar that he welded on, and this is a brand new pin, and it's got a bit of slot on it, but he obviously welded it on there. So what I need to do is I got this plate here, I think it's about 3/4 inch. I'm going to cut basically a chunk, size it for the pin, and then I gotta gouge off all the existing weld off here so that I can get that plate on here, and then there'll be a lot more surface area. I think the biggest thing is that since it's so worn out inside here, like I can stick my finger in there, it only had that much for the pin to go back and forth on, and once it started getting a little worn out and the welds broke, it just slopped itself out. So yeah, it's got gouger up. I think the top, I'm just going to weld it back on because it isn't too bad, at least for the most part. So yeah, so I got to gouge it, weld it back on, and she'll be good to go tomorrow. Let's see if we can get this done in time. Let's get after it. Alrighty, so I got the gouger set up here. No cause for alarm. I am just putting the ground weight on here, and yes, that will end up arcing out on there, but the cylinder, you can actually see where as far as the cylinder goes is just right there. This much of the shaft stays exposed, so that's not going to do any harm to the cylinder itself. And so yeah, so I got the gouger right there, and this time I'm going to use, I used it on that 777 video I just did, but this is called flat. It's gouging rod, but it's flat. So normally it's round, but the flat stuff is nice because when you go to gouge it out, it leaves it flat, so you don't get as bad of a crater. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using, and we'll get off to it, and we'll have some fun at the same time. So there we go, got it all gouged off. Gotta do some cleanup on it. I lied, I said I wasn't gonna do the top, but looking at it I was like, nah, it needs to be done. It's almost just as bad. So got that all cleaned up. I got this lovely AC dripping on me, super sweet. Yeah, I'm just gonna get in there with the grinder and flush all that off, and then cut some plate. So what I got here is my new tool. This is my new DeWalt grinder. My first DeWalt tool ever. Honestly, huge fan, because it's a 6-inch grinder that you can hold in one hand very comfortably. They have a really nice lock to the guard, unlike my Milwaukee one here, where the guard is super sloppy all the time. But I use this guy primarily just for wire wheeling, unless I just want to whip out quick for a grinder or something like that. I'll use that. But what I got on here is a combo disc. This is like a, I guess they're called a 1/8 grinding disc. I call them combo discs because they're skinny enough you technically can cut through stuff, but they're thick enough that they're strong, so they're really good for edging out on stuff, and they get into nice areas, and you can make a nice edge with it because it doesn't curl over as much as a standard 1/4 inch grinding disc. So this AC has not stopped dripping. It's all the way down my neck now, so that's super. So yeah, we'll start grinding now. Alrighty, so got it welded up. Well, I got pieces cut. I you saw that in the time lapse there. The pin, I actually had to tap them on before you saw me actually clamp them in there. I got the top one, backside, and here welded. I did make this bevel all the way around so I can get a little bit more weld into it. And then also, because on the back side, this actually overhangs a little bit. It just isn't quite centered. But I didn't want to sacrifice any material off this side in order to get more weld there. So I opted for a little bit more strength instead. I'll do my best to get weld back there, but honestly, with as much as I can get around the corner, the side and the back, that's going to be plenty strong. I mean, this stuff is thicker than the original stuff is, so that shouldn't be too bad. It's actually going a lot better than I thought. Once I get it all welded up, then I'll weld the pins in so that they don't, since it's not perfect, obviously because I flame cut it with the torch, so I'll weld them in there nice and good so that there's no chance for the pin to wobble around in there, because when the pin moves around, that's what wallows it out like it was. So yeah, I'll get back at it, and yeah, let's get going. Well, there we go. It's 7 o'clock now, so that took me 2 hours, so that's not too bad. Turned out pretty good, I'd say. Not like perfect or anything like that, but definitely in there. And ended up getting up to the back side on both of them. So yeah, it's 100% welded. I did 2 passes around the front side here that I can get at. I didn't double pass the back. Not really necessary. It's really hard to get back there. So yeah, there we go, all cleaned up. You'll notice I'm not a savage, and I always clean my slag. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when welders leave their slag everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna call that a night, and we'll try it again tomorrow. Give me a subscribe, like. See you next time.